You promised 5 lakh new jobs a year in 2021. You're saying you've actually created 3 times that amount.
That's correct. That is correct.
Is that a credible claim?
Of course it is. It's something that has been placed in our assembly.
When you talk about jobs,
Yeah.
Mamata Banerjee last month said, because you're saying 14 lakh jobs a year, last month she said 84 lakh unemployed youth registered for a dole scheme of yours. How does that square off with this huge amount of job creation?
You see, a lot of people who would be working as in the informal sector may also register for the scheme.
West Bengal has fallen in Niti Aayog's Sustainable Development Goals rankings from 14 in 2020. This is a ranking of all states. You slipped to 17 in 2024.
Honestly, I don't believe these rankings. I genuinely believe these rankings are put out to make West Bengal look bad because we live in West Bengal.
Okay, let me ask you about something else which the Trinamool is accused of, which is of corruption. If you take the teacher recruitment scam where one of your ministers, the education minister Partha Chatterjee, was implicated, that was real, was it not? You had to let him go.
Look, we are not like the BJP. We're not that shameless like the BJP, where you have Hardeep Puri, who is accused, not only accused, who's been named 430 times in the Epstein files. The BJP is so shameless, they won't let him go. We said, no, we want to do the right thing. Till the trial is going on, we let him go.
Let's now come to the SIR, which is currently a huge issue here in West Bengal. Are you worried that this exercise is going to hurt your chances?
No, look,
could this turn the election?
It's not a question of this one election turning. We are coming to power. The question is, this is the murder of, we are presiding over the largest mass disenfranchisement of India's voters that we have ever seen.
Yeah. Narendra Modi, can you say one good thing about him?
His skin glows lately. I think he's got a good skincare routine.
His skin glows.
Good skincare routine.
Hello and welcome to this Newslaundry special interview. It's the West Bengal elections and I have with me Mahua Moitra. She's the Member of Parliament from Krishnanagar of the Trinamool Congress. She's a leader of the TMC, the ruling TMC. And we are about 2.5-3 hours north of Kolkata. Thanks very much indeed, Mahua, for talking to us.
Thank you, Vasu, for stepping all the way from Delhi to here.
So I know there's a lot to talk about with this election, especially the SIR, which is deeply concerning, and we'll get into it. But I want to first start by asking you about the performance of the government, because it's also what has happened in the past 5 years, not just in the past few months. And I want to talk a little bit about the economic record and get your view on the following criticism, that you've launched a number of cash transfer schemes for women, for Dalits, for youth, all of that, which is fine. But on critical areas like industry, like investments and jobs, you've fallen short.
So Vasu, the problem is that all of the mainstream media and whether it is television, whether it's the print media, unfortunately, is all controlled by the ruling party via 1 or 2 or 3 large houses or individuals. So the narrative they put out is something that we have got to fight against every day. And this is another one of the prime examples of their narrative. The fact that Bengal apparently has had no jobs, has had no investments. Bengal is just creating a state of beggars where Mamata Banerjee is giving out doles and that's all. So I'd like to put 3 things on record. In 2021, we had promised that we would be creating 5 lakh jobs per year.
Sure. Let's start with jobs. Let's take it one by one. Okay.
So let's take just jobs. Okay. So we had promised. Now, if you see, now I'm looking at I have with me the data report card, which was placed at our budget. So this is something that we've placed in the West Bengal Assembly. It's not something that I've made up. So since we've come to power, we have created, there have been 2 crore jobs created, which has been 13 lakh jobs a year.
You created 2 crore jobs in the past 15 years, or 14 years that you've been in power.
We have created, since you asked me till 2021. In 2021,
you said 5 lakh new jobs.
In the last 15 years, we've been in power for 15 years.
Yes.
We have created 2 crore new jobs.
2 crore new jobs. Actually, this is something that Mamata Banerjee also said last year. And I want to take you up on that.
That averages out to about 13 lakhs per year.
That averages out to actually 14 lakh jobs a year. But I want to ask you this.
Correct.
That you promised 5 lakh new jobs a year in 2021. You're saying you've actually created 3 times that amount.
That's
14 lakh
correct.
jobs
That
of
is
3 times.
correct.
Is that a credible claim?
Of course it is. It's something that has been placed in our assembly. Do you think that the data report card and the economic numbers that we place in the West Bengal assembly as part of the budget report is going to be a lie? I mean, I'll give you an example.
No, but where? Because we try to look in the public domain for examples of
I've
no, I know, but I'm
yeah.
saying we try to look for
Yes.
examples of where so many jobs would have been created. and we
Most
couldn't
of our
find any.
jobs are in the MSME sector. Now, most of our jobs are in the MSME.
Small businesses, medium and small
enterprises. So 93 lakh MSMEs, which is the second. We're second highest in India in the number of MSMEs. So in the MSMEs, we have contributed almost 36% of the female MSMEs in India coming out of West Bengal, and we've got 16% of all MSMEs in India come out of Bengal.
Okay,
Maximum of job creation has been from the MSMEs.
Okay, I'll come to MSMEs in a second because that's also a historical legacy. That's not necessarily Trinamool. When you talk about jobs,
Yeah.
Mamata Banerjee last month said, because you're saying 14 lakh jobs a year, last month she said 84 lakh unemployed youth registered for a dole scheme of yours, a Yuba
Right.
Sati scheme between 21 and 40 age group. They get 1,500 rupees a month. We did the math, 84 lakhs amounts to 40% of the working population between 21 and 40. So 40%, which is a sizable chunk, almost half, Mahua, are declaring themselves as jobless.
Yeah.
How does that square off with this, huge amount of job
you
creation?
see, because a lot of these people who are still signing up for the dole,
Yes.
for the Yuva
scheme.
Sati scheme, you're only covering between 18 and 40 years who are graduates. There are people
21 and 40.
21 and 40. So there are people above the age of 40 to 60 that have got employed. Second, a lot of people who would be working as in the informal sector may also register for the scheme.
That's true, but then that does point to a failure of formal job creation. If so many people, 40% between 21 and 40, which is, by the way, the most productive period
Yes.
of employability, if they are registering for an
Do you know
unemployment dole,
what is the unemployment? What is the unemployment in India today? The unemployment in India, all over India, in the working population age since the BJP have come to power.
We're talking of West Bengal.
Well, even in West Bengal, we have created 2 crore jobs. This is a number which has been put out by our government in our economic survey, Vasu.
No, the only reason I'm asking is because it gets contradicted with this 84 lakh figure.
I know. I don't think it gets contradicted with the 84 lakh figure because the jobs that have been created, look, when you're looking at the age of 21, 21 is anyone who's passed Madhyamik, who has done Madhyamik is eligible to apply for this scheme. So anyone who's passed class 10. So somebody who's in the village, who's passed class 10,
Yes.
who is engaged in agriculture, for example,
Yes.
is not counted as a formal sector and they are being put in this. That's the double counting.
Okay, let's now come to industry.
Am I
and
very
investment.
clear about that? Am I very clear about that?
No, you are saying that that's double counting.
This is very clear. So if you've got somebody who's in a village, so for example, if you look in the villages around us,
Yes.
a lot of people don't go above class 10 or class 12. This particular Yuva Sati scheme means anyone who has passed class 10, the Madhyamik exam, and is not engaged in formal employment can register in this scheme. People who are engaged in agriculture and class 10, 84 lakh all over the state of Bengal.
No. Listen, I agree that I agree that
that doesn't contradict anything.
Okay. The reason I'm saying contradict is because a large part of our population we know works in the informal sector.
Correct.
No one can afford to be fully unemployed in this country.
Correct.
But the reason why you would have high numbers applying to a dole scheme is when the government does not create enough jobs in the formal sector. That is what drives large numbers to an unemployment dole.
That's not correct. That's not correct. Because in India, if you notice, if you've seen the IMF, have you seen the new IMF report which has come out in India, which says that you are not counting properly the numbers even within India? Arvind Subramaniam, the economic advisor, came out and said that the Indian government, that our growth in the last 15 years has not been 6 to 6.5%, is more like 4 and 4.5%.
True, but that's a slightly different point.
Yes, no, that's not a different point because the informal sector it's very difficult, especially in rural areas, to count the number of jobs in the informal sector and especially in MSMEs.
Okay, let me move
Bengal's jobs are agriculture, informal sector and MSME. Everyone doesn't go and have a 9 to 5 job in the State Bank of India. There's a difference.
Okay, so let's now move to industry and investments because as you said, there's this false narrative being created that under your watch, that's not the case. So if I can ask you specifically, how many new investments and new projects have taken off in the past 5 or 15 years? I'm not talking of proposals or MOUs, but of actual implemented projects. How many new?
in technology and in tech services, as you know, every large company, whether it's TCS, whether it's Wipro, whether it's all the new data companies, if you go to outside Salt Lake near Rajarhat, most
These are Calcutta
all of the
suburbs you're
Calcutta
referring to?
suburbs that we're referring to is the services sector. When you're looking at manufacturing, now remember one thing, Bengal has never been a hub for large manufacturing and cannot be. It is a partition state. It is still an agrarian economy with very small land holdings. It is not possible for us to give 1,000 acres or 2,000 acres of, very large tracts of land, which is possible in many other states where they're not that dependent on agriculture. Bengal is a very fertile land. People are still dependent on agriculture. So this is something that stands in the way of very large manufacturing investments. But having said that, I mean, again, we're looking at, if you look at the world's largest coal block, which is in Deutsche Panchami, that has just taken off. When you look at Sajjan Jindal, when you look at JSW, they've just set up the plant here. When you look at the MSME sector, again, as I said, the MSME sector is now accounting for 16% of India's MSMEs are coming strictly from Bengal.
Okay, but I'm talking of specifically under your watch, because I have some, again, we were looking for information, and your former finance minister, Amit Mitro, he said between 2015 and 2019, during these West Bengal global investment summits that you would have, you received 12 lakh crores of proposals, of which 6 lakh crores are in implementation mode.
Right.
But Commerce Ministry data, which was analyzed by the Print, a digital website, found that only 14,000 crores was being implemented, which is only 2% of the 6 lakh crore number. That's a very different reality to the claim made by Dr. Mitro.
Any commerce ministry of the government of India which puts out data which actually uses a wrong GDP deflator, anything that comes out of the government of India, I do not trust. I do not trust internationally. I'm saying this on record. The IMF has come out and said it. I don't trust the data at all.
This is the Department of Investments. It just logs, projects implemented. It just gets automatically logged.
Well, I don't think there
is. And it's just saying it's only 2%.
Look, I don't believe that number. I think we've had a global investment summit every 2 years. And if we weren't logging anything, I don't think the same investors would keep coming back over and over again.
But okay, you don't trust the Commerce Ministry. The RBI, and it sort of correlates. We looked at RBI data for factories, numbers of factories in West Bengal, and that number, Mahua, has barely increased in the past 5 years. You had about 10,000 factories in 2020, and it's roughly the same in 2024. Workers, factory workers, industrial workers have again stagnated at about 6 lakhs in the past 5 years.
Right.
So that does somewhat belie the claim that you've had, all of these expansions and you had all of this growth.
I'm looking at, when you're talking of numbers, I'm looking at the numbers. It is when we're looking at and again, I've got Commerce Ministry, I've got Government of India data in front of me. It says major manufacturing hub with the nation's largest leather complex, largest garment exporter, hosiery, foundry park, and the railway manufacturing hub, a new semiconductor hub. The shale gas plant is being developed.
Now you're citing, you're not citing
No, you're telling me that when I gave you West Bengal data, you told me West Bengal data is rubbish, Commerce Ministry data is what we should believe. So now I'm giving you Government of India data. Now you can't run with the hare and hunt with the hound.
So you said commerce, you said central government data is dodgy and suspect.
Then you're using that same data to come back at me.
No, I'm not saying central government data is dodgy.
Either you let me give you West Bengal data and let's go with it. If you're going to throw Commerce Ministry data at me, I'm going to throw Government of India data at me.
Information you have, there's been all of these plants that have come up.
Yes.
Okay. If I can move on to social indices too.
Yeah.
Mahua, and to socio-economic or social indices like health and so on. Again, you have a number of these, you have a number of these schemes. You have a number of these cash transfer schemes. But again, the overall rankings are not that great. West Bengal has fallen in Niti Aayog's Sustainable Development Goals rankings from 14 in 2020. This is a ranking of all states. You slipped to 17 in 2024. SDG, as you know, tracks progress in education, health, access to water, all of that. That's a fall.
Okay. Look, all you need to do is to go out, probably a kilometer out of here.
Okay.
And just literally, randomly go into any household and ask them 3 questions. 1, are welfare benefits reaching the women in every household?
Okay.
Is every household getting rations?
Right.
The most important thing, what are your indices? Your indices are food, nutritious food. Your indices are access to health, and your indices are access to education. These are your 3 main indices, I would think.
Yes.
So when you're thinking of Food. We have in this district, in Nadia district, 100% PDS coverage. 100%.
Public
which means
distribution
every
system.
single household has got access to the ration program of the state of West Bengal. Number one, when we are looking at education in West Bengal, we have among the highest in India, over 50% between secondary to higher secondary retention rates among both women and men, more than 50%, which in some states in like Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh are like 22%. The third thing is education in Bengal is free right from kindergarten till class 12. Not only is it free, you have your school fees covered, your books covered, your school bag covered, your shoes, your thali that you eat in, the midday meal program, 100% coverage.
That would be historical.
That is historical. So we've given, I think cycles have been given to 27% of all school-going children.
No, my question was slightly different. I'm saying there's a difference between transferring benefits like ration and cash to actually fixing fundamental.
No, what's the fixing fundamental? When you're talking
fundamental factors like education.
When we're fixing when you have given everyone access to free education. In West Bengal, there is a primary school in every booth. There is a primary school within 2 or 3 kilometers of every single house.
Then how come the state has slipped?
I have no idea.
Rankings?
I honestly, I don't believe these rankings. And I genuinely believe these rankings are put out to make West Bengal look bad because we live in West Bengal. And there's no point smirking, Vasu. This is the truth.
No, I'm not smirking. I'm just saying that the SDG, the Niti Aayog rankings are.
We're not
sort of
here
agnostic of political
they know. Excuse me, they're not. Otherwise, we wouldn't be getting hit on every international marker possible.
By the way, many BJP rule states do badly as well in SDG.
I'm sure they do. But West Bengal, one thing that we have done is access to healthcare, access to education, and access to food.
Okay, Indian Express. Can I cite an Indian Express story to you, which you may have seen, which came out on the front page just a few days ago? It said that in 2017, Mamata Banerjee promised 11 dream universities. Their report found that 7 have no permanent campuses, many have no permanent faculty. Kids are dropping out in big numbers. This is now the Indian Express.
Look, we have said that we are setting up 11 universities. It takes time to set up a university. It takes time to get faculty. It's time to set that up. I mean, I have Kanyashree University, which has been set up in Krishnanagar right here, which is an all-women's university. And we haven't yet got a permanent campus. We've been given money to set up the campus. It's being constructed, but that doesn't mean classes haven't stopped. We've got temporary classrooms. We're using half the college. We're using half of the Krishnanagar Government Collegiate School. And we are having classes. And we have already had, I think, 4 or 5 graduating classes out of that. So this is not something that, look, India is not a rich country. It's not that we are getting there and we can just get money. The central government has starved us of all money. You have to understand that whatever we've been doing for the past 15 years has been purely on our own money. The centre takes money. What is the rule everywhere else? Hear me out.
Not arguing that. Not arguing about
but you
the
have
fact
to
that
understand, you can't just slam us and say, where is all our money going? Where is our money going? Jal Jeevan Mission. The centre is supposed to give us, it's supposed to give us their share of the money. The centre hasn't given us our share of the money. We have given 4,000 crores. Manrega, 58,000 crores is stuck up of our money. What do? Stop the scheme, Mamata Banerjee. So all our funds are getting diverted. 58,000 crores has been pending, hear me out, from 2021. So when every centre state share scheme has been stopped by the centre, all our funds are getting diverted to Manrega for the Jal Jeevan Mission scheme, for the PM Awas scheme, which the centre is starving us off. So we are having to give out 1 lakh crores.
Let me come in now. Let me come in now and say, let me say this. I agree that states are resource hit. I agree that there is political. I'm agreeing with you about the fact that there is political partisanship. But I'm also we looked at the numbers to see where you're allotting funds, right? Because you have limited funds in the way. You have to prioritize. You've actually, when I say you, I mean the Trinamool Congress government has actually reduced its education budget. It was 18% of the budget in 2020. It's now down to 15%. Simultaneously, you've increased spending on these cash transfer schemes like Lakshmi Bhandar, which is your monthly dole to women, is now 13% of the budget, 13%, which is roughly the same as the reduced education budget. But so is that again?
Look, it's like I said. I wish.
Is that the best choice?
Look, I do believe it's not. I wouldn't say it's the best choice, but you have to understand that we are really having to decide which hill to die on. That's precisely pretty much what it's coming down to. Because when the centre is starving us of 2 lakh crores is what our dues are.
Okay.
2 lakh crores. So when we are getting, I mean, you just see budgets have been cut everywhere. You know what's happening to us. 6% of GDP is supposed to be given. The Kothari Commission report, every single report.
I'm in agreement with you there.
6%. So even the center is nowhere near 6%. It's some 3.5% of GDP. That's education.
Okay,
we haven't gone from 16% to 10%. Lakshmi Bhandar is a very important scheme. It is empowering women all over West Bengal. You had women in rural areas with no access to cash, who were being beaten, who were being abused, who were starving, who today have got their own dignity back because they have some access to some cash.
Okay, let me ask you about
And
the
you
other...
know something, if there's an empowered woman in the house, they are much more likely to send their girl child to school.
Okay, let me ask you about something else which the Trinamool is accused of, which is of corruption. And I know that you say many of these charges are politically motivated and the central agencies are weaponized. And again, let's agree on the principles of that. But is all of it motivated? If you take the teacher recruitment scam where one of your ministers, the education minister Partha Chatterjee, was implicated, that was real, was it not? You had to let him go.
Look, we are not like the BJP. We're not that shameless like the BJP, where you have Hardeep Puri, who is accused, not only accused, who's been named 430 times in the Epstein files. There are 62 documented emails against him where he has communicated with Epstein. There are 9 documented meetings in 12 months or something like that. I mean, I went through all of that. The BJP is so shameless, they won't let him go. So in our case, the minute that in a scam that he was an accused and he was arrested, the trial is not yet completed, by the way. He has not been convicted. He's out on bail.
Yes.
So even without a conviction, we could have held on to our guns and said no. We said no, we want to do the right thing. Till the trial is going on, we let him go. We did the right thing. We did. If we had to play partisanship, we would have said we would have given him a ticket this time. We haven't done that.
No, but I'm saying on the principle of it. The fact that if I can ask the question, the fact that this comes to light, the allegation that the minister and his aides likely, this is the accusation,
Right,
took lakhs of rupees in order to rig or to selectively grant these positions to government teachers. That's quite a damning.
but this case has gone to the Supreme Court. This case is in the Supreme Court. This case is
Which
in
has
the
said very
High
critical
Court,
things,
which
as
is
you know.
which has gone to the Supreme Court. And if he is to be convicted, he is to be convicted. If there was one man who is an education minister, it's not like there are not rotten eggs anywhere. So it doesn't mean that Mamata Banerjee and all of the Trinamool are involved in that. You had the Vyapam scam in Madhya Pradesh. Did Shivraj Singh Chauhan resign? I'm asking you a question. I'm not doing whataboutery.
Yeah.
I'm not doing whataboutery. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying that is if somebody was accused, there was enough evidence to start a trial, and a trial has started, we did the right thing and let him go.
I ask this because in many other cases too, your ministers and MLAs have been charged, charge sheets have been filed, but the Trinamool hasn't taken that same view. The reason I ask is that when you have something like a Partha Chatterjee, and there's a presumption that this is more likely to be a genuine case, does that then not raise that question in the public mind that perhaps even some of these other ministers and MLAs or implicated in whether it's Narda, Sarda, all of that, that those could also be genuine cases?
What is Narda and Sarda? Okay, fine. So Narda is a genuine case. Who's implicated in Narda? The leader of the opposition, Subhendu Adhikari, is caught on camera in Narda taking money in a towel and putting it away. So that was 2016. Hear me out.
Also includes
2001 minute. That's 2016. That was 2016. Today is 2026. Assuming the case was real, you had 10 years, the BJP government is in power, it's gone to the CBI.
Okay.
Why has nobody been arrested? All of these cases are bunkum. The minute any case, if it is real, and if the accused moves over to the BJP, he's immediately whitewashed. And none of these cases are real. I've been through it myself. I've been through an ED, CBI nonsense myself where they've come here, raided my office during the 24 elections. They've gone to my parents' house over a lipstick and a scarf that a friend gave me. So I've been through this because I came back and fought is the reason I'm sitting here. Right? So this is the part of their game. So all of this ED, CBI, it's with them. If you've got something, prove it. They've gone after so many leaders in the opposition. Today, Arvind Kejriwal is walk-free. Upender Hoodas, they've not been able to prove anything. 2G, DMK is walk-free. All of these big hauas that they created, that they made governments fall on, 5-10 years down the line, everybody is walk-free. So just goes to show this is nothing but one big hawa that they create, saying that Trinamool is tainted, Trinamool were corrupt and Trinamool were tainted. You know, when we walked on the road, we would be pelted with stones. People wouldn't come out and want to take selfies with us and hug us and tell us that please keep the BJP away from us.
Okay, talking of hawas, let's now come to the SIR, which is currently a huge issue here in West Bengal. the logic of it, the argument at least being made by the EC is that we had to go ahead with it because there's this presumption that there are all these infiltrators who are in West Bengal. And also the fact that the state government is partisan, so we had to bring in our own people, micro observers, all of that. That's the sort of logic here at play. It's now, of course, before the Supreme Court. But you still, you believe that this is being done for political reasons.
Look, Vasu, it's not what I believe. This is far beyond the realm of anything I believe or you believe or anything. Let's just put the facts on the table. The matter is sub judice, you have to understand. It's a sensitive matter. It is sub judice. So whatever I'm going to say with the caveat that I mean no respect against the Supreme Court. Because it is being held, I think, in the Supreme Court today also at 4 p.m.
As we speak, yes.
As we speak. So that's the first caveat, nothing, no disrespect to the Supreme Court. Number one, we have nothing against an SIR exercise. The Election Commission is empowered to carry on an SIR exercise. Now, why they would choose to do it just 3 months before an election when the last one they did in 2002 or 3? What does an SIR entail? It entails somebody going to, a BLO going to every single household, getting a fresh form, enumeration form, getting it filled out, coming back, all of these have to be checked and a fresh lot has to be created. Now, they hurried this through and started on the 1st of November. In 30 days, they finished an exercise which would normally take anywhere else upwards of 12 months. They still did that. They cleared it. And what did they do? On the 16th of December, they came up with a draft list.
Yes.
Now, what was different between the list of July 2025, which was the pre-SIR list, and the new list? We had 7.66 crore voters in the first list. They deleted, by means of the enumeration form exercise, the SIR exercise, which none of us had a problem with, ASDD. So, absent, shift, deceased and duplicate voters were deleted.
Correct.
58 lakhs. Up to then, even that's okay.
Yeah.
So you've deleted whatever. The Ganesh Kumar and everybody else in the EC went on record saying the SIR exercise is over. We have taken out all the deletions.
Yes.
So 7.66 suddenly became 7.04.
Right.
Fine, no problem. Now, as you know, that's the rule. If the draft list has come, from the draft list, all you can do now is add new voters up to the last date of nomination and delete the voters that shouldn't be on the list through Form 7.
Fair enough.
That's it. So that's it. So when they froze the draft list on 7.04 voters on the 16th of December,
that should have been the
final list, saving 6 and 7. Now, what did we see suddenly?
With the new
all of a sudden, what did they do? All of a sudden, what did they do? Suddenly we woke up, and this was like some bad dream. It was like it's some Kafka-esque dream where literally, because we are sitting here and people are sitting at computers at every video office at the SIR exercise, and the software is controlled by the EC. All of a sudden, you see valid voters like you or me. Next to our name is LD, LD, LD. What is LD? We didn't even know what it meant. And LD was a logical discrepancy. Now, what is a logical discrepancy? They created artificially 6 parameters, literally picked it out of the air. What were the parameters by which you were placed under logical discrepancy? Number 1, there was a mismatch in the spelling of your name. Now, Vasu, the 2002 list was in Bengali. They used a transcription software to change it to English. The 2025 list was also in Bengali. They used a different transcription software to change it to English. They then compared the 2 English lists. So Sheikh, S-H-E-I-K, from 2002 transcription may be different from K-H here. So because of that, there's a mismatch. That was one. No, it was ridiculous. The second, if you are more than one of 6 siblings, how does that make me any less likely to vote? If the difference in age between you and your father is more than 50 years.
I don't want to cut you off, but I'm aware of
if you're aware, these
I'm asking you, let me ask a question. My question is that I understand that those are serious concerns, and by the way, I'm in agreement with you that the logical discrepancy...
It was the most illogical thing in the world. It was illegal.
That was the way in which it was brought in deeply problematic. But the question I'm asking you is this, that the idea, the assertion that you guys are making is that this was done to target your voter base, particularly after the initial list came out. And that's what I'm trying to ask you, that have you been able to amass or gather evidence?
But of course.
That the 60 lakh, 6 million people who've been placed under adjudication or logical discrepancy are they largely?
Yes, of course they're
Yeah,
largely
yes.
Muslims. Look at the districts.
Muslims.
Murshidabad, 11 lakhs. Malda, 8 lakhs. Uttar Dinajpur. Please look at the districts. Yesterday, I'll
These,
give you
for the
one
benefit
small...
of our viewers, are Muslim majority districts.
The
in West
Muslim
Bengal.
majority districts have been picked out, and I'll give you an example. This is where the stupidity of the BJP is. The BJP, for all their, basically, they're just, they're, pardon my French, but they're basically single-digit IQ people, all of them. And when they put out a narrative, they can't back it up. So now they've got this Ghuspetia narrative, which they've got to back up. They can't back it up because Bengal is a partition state. You have to understand. 1971, they say 1971 war with Bangladesh. Bangladesh became an Islamic country. So it had 18% or 20% Hindus in 71. Today there are 2 or 3% Hindus. So what has the migration influx been into India? It has been of Hindus, not of Muslims. The Muslims who live in Nadia, I have a border district. If you go 30 kilometers from here, you have the border with Bangladesh. Every Muslim in and around here has been here from 1947. They never came in 71. So the Muslims are actually of West Bengal are the original inhabitants. It is the Hindus, Matuas, the Hindu Nomoshudros who were chased out of Bangladesh or left Bangladesh because of feelings of insecurity post 71. So the unmapped voters who have come in.
These are again for the benefit of our viewers. This is an SC community.
This is an SC community. These are Hindus
who are largely today BJP voters.
Who have come in. So this is so when you look at the LDs and then we went to the Supreme Court. They went under adjudication. Today, look at this. Today is the 6th. Bengal is voting in 2 phases.
Yes.
Roughly 150 seats on the 23rd. Roughly another 150 seats on the 29th.
Correct.
The last date of nomination is today for the first phase.
Yes.
Now, according to the law, your voters list has to be frozen as of today for the first phase. As of the first phase, out of the 60 lakh adjudication, we still don't know if they've all been adjudicated. But from what we can understand, out of 60 lakh, around there are 30 to 35 lakh people who have been deleted. Okay? Now, all those people who have been deleted, the Supreme Court said they can appeal through a tribunal.
Yes.
The tribunals have not been set up. Today is the last day. So 35 lakh people who have been excluded, possibly more. What do they do? Yesterday you saw in Supreme Court only one human being. His name is Mahtab Sheikh. He was a Congress candidate from Farakka.
Yes.
He had the money and the resources to move the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said, please hear him.
Special hearing.
1 second, where was the special hearing held? At the home of Sivaganga. At his home in Salt Lake, because the tribunal has not been set up. So in Bengal, only one has been cleared out of 30 lakhs. Where do these people go?
Are you worried that this exercise is going to hurt your chances?
No, look.
Could this turn the election?
This is not the question of turning one election. This is what I can't seem to get, or rather, we have to amplify through people like you because most of the media is actually bought out. So I'm appealing to you.
No, you
it's
made
not
that
a question.
point.
It's not a question of this one election turning. We are coming to power. We don't depend on whether those 60 lakh voters are out or on. The people of Bengal are with Mamata Banerjee. We will come back. Regardless, we are forming government. Take it from me. Save this screenshot. Save this video. Save this moment. Mamata Banerjee is forming the government again.
Even though, as you said, so many of your potential voters have been
60 lakh or plus 58 lakhs have been disenfranchised, we will form the government. Because people who even voted for the BJP now even have realized when they see other Bengalis being called Rohingyas and Bangladeshis and their language being called Bangladeshis and being beaten up and fears that they won't be allowed to eat fish and being beaten up in BJP states, people have realized how dangerous they are.
Okay. So, listen, again, as I said...
So the question is not of... Going back to it, Vasu, question is not of this election turning. The question is, this is the murder of... We are presiding over the largest mass disenfranchisement of India's voters that we have ever seen. We have never seen 60 lakh valid voters. If Mahtab Sheikh was adjudicated yesterday and he went to appeal and he was put back, there was nothing wrong with him. Why was he deleted? 30 lakh people like that need to be put back.
SIR and all of it deeply concerning, but the fact that you have a situation like you did in Malda where judicial officers get out, all of that, would you say that was unfortunate?
1 minute. Of course it's unfortunate, but what do people do? Of course that's unfortunate. Tell me something. I went yesterday to do a meeting I'm naming it a GP called Bilkumari GP, which forms under Palashipara Vidhan Sabha. In that one GP, one Gram Panchayat, which has got maybe 23,000 voters, 4,700 valid voters have been put under adjudication and cannot vote. After I finished the meeting, they came to me and they said, Didi, what do we do? What do we do? I said, we don't know. We don't know. There are no tribunals.
No, but how are you linking it to Malda?
So
then?
one second. So who were the people who were in Malda? Yes, there are mischief makers. Yes, there's ISF. Now BJP themselves now, what will they do? Who is this MIM? Who is this ISF? Who are these little mushrooming parties? They have been used by the BJP for time immemorial. When I see some of them doing their meetings, do you think they have the funds and the resources?
No, but hold on. When it comes to political violence, though, I'm not talking of this specific instance. There has been serious violence, like during the Panchayat elections in 2023. Hold on, 42 killed, for the benefit of our viewers. 23 Panchayat elections, 42 people killed.
Bengal.
That was under your watch, under your government's watch.
Bengal, since the Naxal movement started in Bengal, 1964, the Bengal political history, there has always been violence and bloodshed. It is not dependent on any one party. Whether it's the left,
you guys
whether
could have fixed it.
Look, the BJP themselves create this communal hatred. Tell me something. Why were all these people? What were they doing? What does a common man on the road do? He has been deprived of his right to vote, Vasu. Please understand this. Nothing will happen to you and I if we don't vote in this country. We can still dress well. We can still go abroad for a holiday. People whose only thing matters is the right to vote. They've been disenfranchised. Who do they see in front of them? The judges, the judicial officers. They feel that these judicial officers have the right to give me back my vote. They want to be heard. What do you do? What do you do? Think of the frustration. So if the BJP had not done this SIR, what do people do?
Okay, let me zoom out a bit, because it's not just you fighting here. You have the Congress, you have other parties. Do you believe, when I see you guys, the way you're engaged at the front lines of trying to fight with the SIR question, I don't see the Congress doing that the same way.
Nobody else is on the ground. Nobody else is on the ground.
And this is something I want to get your view on. I mean, I know the Congress is also, quote unquote, a friendly party nationally. Here you might be rivals. But are you disappointed that they're not out there in the trenches?
Look,
just as there is a concern that they're not out there in the trenches nationally in the same way.
Look, it's a question that's way above my pay grade. I'm an MP from the Trinamool Congress.
But I'm asking you for like a ground
I hear you. Look, I'm an MP from the Trinamool Congress. It is not in my place to either laud the Congress or lynch the Congress. Having said that, we are very clear. As far as we are concerned, we are interested in West Bengal. We are the only ones on the ground who are fighting. So as long as the Congress wins Rajasthan, we're interested in defeating the BJP. Everyone do it in the state that they are strongest in. We want the DMK to defeat them in Tamil Nadu. We want the Congress to defeat them in Rajasthan, in Madhya Pradesh, in Chhattisgarh, in Haryana, in Maharashtra, in Goa, wherever they can. And we want to defeat them in Bengal.
That's not been happening though. The Congress has been losing battle after battle.
But that's their issue. That's not, like I said, it's above our pay grade. What we can do is, can we ensure that we win in Bengal and keep the BJP out? Yes, we can. Is that what we're doing? That's what we're doing.
Okay. When you talk about fighting the BJP, the Trinamool also fights with each other quite a lot. And some of it gets quite public. I mean, is that like, isn't there a way of putting a cap on it?
Look, we are Bengal. Look, I tell you, Mamata Bani is the only leader. The only leader whose party that she has carried through since 1998 to now is largely intact. All of us, we've heard so many stories about how
many
there
leaders
are groups.
have left.
No, who's left? Who left? A few leaders will leave.
Suvendu amongst
Thank God,
them.
oh my God, thank God. Thank God.
But hold on.
Thank God. Did we want him? Look, if a person doesn't want to follow the discipline of the party.
But I'm saying I don't have the full list, but there have been several.
There has never been any mass defections ever. You've never had a group of MLAs break away. You've never had nothing like that. You've had one or two individuals leaving. And largely because of EDCBI. If you had Mukul Roy who left, it was EDs. Everyone who gets pressurized by EDCBI is the...
Okay, my question was different though. My question about the public splash, like you, Kalyan, Banerjee, all of that.
It's okay. We are Bengalis. We are all-blooded people. We are all independent, fiercely independent people within the party. But one thing unites us all. Whether it's Kalyanda and me, when it comes to fighting for the party, we will do it together.
But what is his problem with you, or what is your problem with him?
It doesn't matter. It's all okay. It all happens. Like I said, we are all hot-blooded people. It happens, but the question is this. All of us are part of the Trinamool, as all of us are part of Mamata Banerjee. And when it comes to our party, we're all united.
I have to end with the inevitable rapid fire, Mahua. So tell me, Mamata Banerjee, first one strength and then I'll ask you one weakness. One strength, one weakness. Greatest strength rather.
Fearless.
Greatest weakness.
Forgives very easily.
forgives very easily.
Yeah, sometimes it annoys us because people do things against the party, then they go and touch her feet, and then she forgives them, and
That's
then we
still
get
a
really...
kind of a positive. I mean,
Not really. Sometimes people who've gone and abused her and done terrible things to her, and we feel bad, and then they come back, and then we feel angry.
Okay. Rahul Gandhi, competent politician, yes or no?
He's the leader of the opposition.
That's
I mean,
not the
of course,
question.
that is the question. Of course.
Competent politician is
Of
different from
course,
leader of the opposition.
he
Leader of the
wouldn't be-
opposition can just be a
One
function
minute,
of numbers.
it's not. A person would not be heading a 100-seat party in the thing and fighting the BJP if he were not a competent politician.
Okay, that's not a direct answer, but I'll go with
It's
it.
as direct as you can get.
Narendra Modi, can you say one good thing about him?
His skin glows lately. I think he's got a good skincare routine.
Skin close.
Good skincare routine.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there. Mahua, thank you very much indeed for
Thank
talking
you.
to us. Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much.